Yeah, we'll see how good I am at this.
Or why don't you just paddle towards them talking and then just keep digging?
At least I'm better at real estate than I am at this. Is that good? We're out here today on Lake Norman, hanging out with a good friend of mine and mentor in the real estate world, Tom Bramhall. Is that good?
You know, when you started, I remember I met you at a big real estate event, and when you first started, like, how did you approach branding then, and how has it sort of evolved and changed today?
I mean, the biggest thing when starting was just that I wanted to be known as like a very specific type of realtor, very niche, or just someone that had essentially the brand recognition. The first thing that I originally thought of was being the realtor that wears a bow tie every day. And then the idea behind that was like, you know, you're just that guy that's always wearing a bow tie, but wearing a necktie every single day in the Southeast sounded awful. So kind of nixed that idea.
Sounds hot.
Yeah, and then wanted to do something that maybe revolved around some good things that were happening. So like that's kind of how I came to the pinstripes with the suits for closings.
So tell me about that, like the pinstripes. That's like when you close a home, you wear pinstripe suits.
Yeah, and that kind of developed some of the brand recognition to get things going. You know, when I moved here, I did commercial brokerage at first. So I got my license, and then I went off to do commercial investment sales. And I bought commercial real estate is very like suit and tie kind of industry, and so I went and bought 4 suits. And I got a blue, a gray, a brown suit, and then a pinstripe suit. And I was like, when I put the pinstripe suit on, it was like, oh, this is pretty sweet. Like, this is what I'm gonna wear at closings. And never even got remotely close to a closing in the commercial world, so never wore the suit. And then after a few years of that and commercial finance that I did, I literally never wore that suit. And so then when I got into residential brokerage, it was like, I'm gonna wear that pinstripe suit for closings. Like, it's gonna happen. And sure enough, like, as you start closing some more, people start to recognize, like, if I'm out at a brewery or if I'm at the office or grabbing lunch and run into a friend, or in Uptown and run into a friend, it's like, if I'm wearing a pinstripe suit, they know that I had a closing that day. And so the more that I've been posting about having closings wearing pinstripes, it's like people start to associate that. The biggest takeaway though from my time in commercial real estate was just that you have to have, in sales, you have to have TLC to be successful. You have to have trustability, likability, and credibility. And so when I first got involved in residential brokerage, you know, I had the likability with my friends and my sphere and my network here in Charlotte, but I kind of had the trustability, but I just didn't have any credibility yet because I hadn't sold anything. And so that was where I kind of took to social media, took to branding and marketing, advertising, all that kind of stuff, and just networking to build credibility. Because if you're always out and about and always doing things involved in real estate, that's how you can start to quickly build credibility. And that's where, you know, the video piece is another piece to build the credibility, likability, and the trustability. You know, when I got featured in your magazine, Charlotte Real Producers, I got super intentional about building the credibility and building the exposure that I would have once that magazine came out. And it's just been, haven't turned back since doing that. One of the things that we talked about a lot when I was doing that was the goal setting and how to set goals. What we did was we set a floor, a target, and a game. The floor was like the amount that if you just went out and you just woke up every day, went through the motions, you were gonna hit that, right? And then the target is like, okay, well, this is like my realistic kind of goal that if I'm doing things right, like I'm gonna hit that. And then the game is if things are just pumping, like crazy, firing on all cylinders, and you're just crushing it, like you're gonna hit that. So that way it's like you're not like either hitting or not hitting your goal. It's like you have different tiers that you can kind of work from. Like I literally have my goals set up on like sticky Post-it notes in my apartment. So I see it in my living room every day. And that's something that's been really big.
What's a goal that you're working on right now?
I want a better video presence. I want to be able to have a bigger presence, not only on Instagram, but YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook and everything. And so that's where taking video and being able to utilize that to kind of further supplement the brand that I've been building, that's going to be a huge thing this year.
It's been awesome watching you grow into, you know, an awesome agent and friend and all those things. And I see how you work and how you, you know, you love the people that you work with and you appreciate the people that you work with. And I think that's going to be ultimately, you know, what continues to make you successful. So
yeah.
Here's to the future.
Yeah. 999, 1,000. Whoa, Tom, who's this? Didn't see you guys.
Oh man. I just like working out just because it makes you feel good. You know, get your endorphins going. I usually like doing it early in the morning just because it gets your day going, you get it out of the way.
It's kind of fun to beat the sun.
Yeah.
And like heading to the gym, knowing that most people are still asleep.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, there's only a couple excuses to not go to the gym in the morning. And usually the biggest one is just you're just tired. You didn't sleep well.
We had a couple cocktails the night before.
Yeah, we're hungover.
Feeling a little foggy.
As the day goes on, like you said, it's just, there's so many things that come up, and us being in sales, it's one of those things where you get the right phone call, your whole day changes in an instant.
And there's no consistency, you know, it relates back to goal setting. You know, if you don't, you know, if your goals are not written down, they're not on purpose, you're not measuring them, and you know, checking in to make sure you're on track, then you're never going to hit them. So same thing with working out. If that's going to be a part of your daily life, then you have to make it a system. You have to make it something that's consistent, something that's measurable, so you can hit those goals.
I want to get your head straight too, because it's like if you do something physical like that where you're pushing yourself first thing in the morning, it's almost like, in theory, that's going to be the hardest thing you're going to do all day. At least physically, that definitely will be. I like using it as a reset from the day before.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how the day was before. You go to the gym and you're just picking up heavy things and putting them back down, and it's kind of therapeutic. So while we were working out, Tom just would not stop talking about how after his workouts in the morning, he does this cold water therapy. So I kind of figured, why the hell not? Give it a shot. It really can't be that bad if Tom does it. Man, that's cold. It's cold as shit.
So what is the point of this?
What is the point of this?
Yeah.
Besides freezing?
So like cold water, it you know, I'm not a scientist or anything, but you know, some of the studies behind it is it drains your lymphatic system, which is basically like the sewer system of your body. So actually, when people say, "Oh, you know, you're going outside, you're gonna get a cold because it's cold outside," is actually not exactly all the way true. It also constricts your blood vessels, so it squeezes them and pushes the old blood out, and then when they warm back up, it actually oxygenates. It brings the new blood in, and oxygenates your system. So it actually, after doing this, it gives you a ton of energy.
Good.
You feel better. It sucks a little bit getting in, and you know, you're cold as shit, and the neighbors definitely look at you weird when you go sit in the lake and it's January and it's 30 degrees outside and the water is 45 or so. But you know.
But it works. I'm cold, that's for sure. I feel like I had 3 cups of coffee. On a scale of 1 to 10, I don't think I'll ever be doing that again, but I'll see you guys next week.
I'm gonna try.
That's a wrap.
A towel wrap.
That's a wrap.